Alright guys, welcome back. Today's a big day. I'm going to be delivering something that's been a long time in the making. Actually, to find the keys to Cato. I'm going to grab Julie, going to load something up, take it over and deliver it across town. And there's a pretty cool story that goes behind this that I think y'all will appreciate. Here it goes, here it goes.
Here we go.
You know when you say years in the making, it's kind of a no joke.
Really and truly.
Whole story, there's a story behind this as well, like who the owner is and stuff. We'll get to that when we get over there. But
Won't be in our bedroom anymore. Okay, do I need to get in there now? So no ride for me before it goes in here, correct? Dang. No fun. Where do you want me to live? Right here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
That's it. It's going to its home.
Man. Lucky. Yeah, it's a good.
Listen, I almost thought it was mine. It was there so long.
All right, let's make this happen.
Let's do it. It stayed in the bedroom. I mean, how could it not be mine?
Oh my gosh. Heading towards our downtown Panama City area. It's where I used to hang out when I took my breaks from lunch because I had my shop right down the road here. Actually building some new houses out here. So this is where I had my shop forever.
And it wasn't pink or teal.
Yeah, it wasn't pink or teal. No Packard dealership right there. It's our downtown Panama City area. Mama doing good back there?
I am doing good. Me and this motorcycle are bonding. Or maybe we're saying our goodbyes. I guess technically, considering it lived in the bedroom, we've already bonded.
Downtown Panama City, they're actually doing some work through here, but old stomping grounds.
There is.
Oh, the old Marie Hotel.
We used to cruise many a nights in the winter up and down that
Gas
street.
station.
Long time coming.
Right? That's what I said. I said I really thought it was mine.
Did you ride it yet?
No, he told me I can't even touch it.
It never looked that good before, Darren. Wow. That's amazing. You know the worst wreck I ever had on a motorcycle was on that little thing?
Really?
How old were you?
Probably 15. And just completely thinking, oh, it's a little bitty mini bike. What could possibly go wrong, right?
Well, it is just the cutest thing.
Wow, Darren,
It's Moetta, dog. It's Moetta.
that looks fantastic.
I figure you're just going to put it in
dude.
the living room, right?
Well, Doris and I are going to have that conversation, but actually it's going to go back to Alabama where it was.
So, I had like a book up under there to kind of hold it up more like this, you know, so I don't have to worry about it falling over or whatever.
Yeah,
but
we'll put something under it. That little block. That looks amazing.
yeah. You know, and all the frame where it was all pitted after we blasted it, we had, you know, kind of hand shape all that stuff. But the only bolts that I've replaced was these two and that one. All these, they got the little collars that go in there. The bolt goes through to stop it so it doesn't crush the plastic. I blasted all those, epoxied them.
Let's see you ride it.
I'm not riding it. I wasn't even gonna like
Are you
put
telling me I
gas
need
in it and trying to fire it up. I didn't want to burn all the paint off of the exhaust.
So you're telling me I need to put it in acrylic?
Uh,
Never touch it.
oh man,
That's fantastic.
you can roll it down the hill and ride it. There you go.
Love you, brother.
Oh, I love you.
It looks great, though, really and truly.
So better than this,
Better than this.
because you're semi-famous. He's like, here we go. So the story of Lance, I've known him since 91, maybe?
Probably a little. I remember maybe more like 94-ish.
Maybe 94-ish. Had no idea who his dad was. And then his dad was the last person
to see Hank Sr. alive. But as I've told you many, many times, that was Dad's story. It wasn't my story. But he was the last person to see Hank alive. He never talked about it with us as a family. But then as he got older, the Hank Williams Museum in Montgomery reached out to him, and he started opening up about that experience. And so if you really want to know the story about Hank and his last ride, the best place to find that would be at the museum in Montgomery. But
so his dad was driving Hank when he passed away.
on Hank's last ride.
Hank's last ride. So yeah, and I was like a
a
deer in the headlights when I found out, because I had no idea.
I never bring it up because it's, again, not my story, but people obviously are interested, all these years later. The one thing I would say about all that is Dad would get upset about people who would, draw their own conclusions about Hank's death and, just assume that drugs were involved. Dad said there were only two people in that car, and he had no knowledge of Hank taking any drugs. I mean, he said they bought a 6-pack of beer and I think a pint of whiskey, and and that was the extent of what was consumed. So,
but your grandfather also, because Hank knew your grandfather?
Yeah, the story is that, and again, I wasn't there, so this is just from my memory of hearing the story, mostly told by other people, not my family, that Hank's regular driver was sick, and that I believe the way I remember the story is Hank went to my grandfather and asked him, did he have another driver? My grandfather owned Liberty Cab Company in Montgomery, Alabama, in the 40s and 50s, and I think even into the 60s. And so Hank was a friend of my grandfather's, and he inquired about a driver, and my grandfather said, well, Charles is out of, he's on winter, they didn't call it winter break back then, but he was home from college for Christmas break, and he could drive him, and that's how that all came together.
And your dad was how old?
19. He was a freshman in college. Freshman in college.
How awesome is that?
It is, and the thing is, I think people just, because it's been such a long time, any connection or any, those times are not, that's a long time ago. So people who don't know, there's nobody to really ask anymore. So it's just a pretty neat thing. And Darren found out when, like,
I found out when I was doing both the cars that your dad had.
Which was about.
So I fixed the rear bumper and front bumper on one car, and then fixed the front bumper on the Cadillac. And my dad had asked about the Cadillac, and that's when I said, "Hey, what do you want for the Cadillac?" And he told me that the lady that had the museum was getting it. And I was like, the red Cadillac. And you're like, yeah. Then you told me, and then you said, because when you were like, well, you know who Dad was. And I was like, I guess I must have been standing there like, what?
So that was Dad passed away in 2013. So that was after that, probably soon after that, I remember that car selling pretty quickly. She won.
Yeah. Well, the Lincoln sold too. They come and picked it up from the shop. Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, so from the early to mid 90s, all the way up until about 2013-ish sometime, He had no idea.
I had no idea. And I even called my longtime friend, who they called us brothers because we were together every single day, is how I actually met you.
JV.
Right.
And he was like, he said, "What?" And I said, "Yeah." And then after that, I'm fixing the one guy's truck, and he's telling me this story.
Right after
He
we
knew
found out
nothing
that
about
news.
this story at all. And I'd fixed his like 96 Chevy that he bought new that was totaled, and we contracted it to build it. And he says, "I got this old 50 truck I want to bring by and let you look at, or 52. And then when he's showing me the title, he tells me this story that, supposedly I bought it up in Montgomery going to my fish camp. And when I loaded it up, the guy said, "Hey, I work for this Chevrolet dealership." And Hank came in all the time and ordered it, paid $1,250 for it, passed away before it came in.
So it was never titled.
So they never titled it. They hauled deer carcasses in it up there. And so it's crazy. Small world. It's weird.
Yeah, because it was right after that. But you have always said you need to come up to the lake house and you need to, and
That's where all that the memorabilia is. I mean, there's books, there's music. Just all of it, because we kind of made that a shrine to Dad.
Right.
And the other thing is, anybody can do a Google search and put in Charles Carr, Hank Williams interview, something like that. And Dad pretty much every New Year's Eve would do an interview with somebody, typically out of Nashville in the music industry, and kind of recount that story. So it's out there. I mean, all you have to do is just go and
I have a picture of your dad sitting in the Cadillac in the museum.
There's another picture in the house.
Yeah.
I just started again. So anyway, but that's a pretty neat thing right here in Bay County. Tied to Hank Williams.
You're the man. And Lance is like, he's as good as they come, seriously.
And listen, you can tell Lance anything, because there is not going to be no loose lips, because you never. Secret is safe.
Seat turned out great.
Yeah.
It does. It looks great.
Yep.
Just doesn't say the Honda on the back.
That's all right.
There's it. Oh, I got something. Hold on.
Yes.
I even put it in this box to deliver it because
in my treasure box.
I told this guy when I saw this, I was like, dude, I have to have it. I have to have it. An original.
Oh, no way.
From, I think 1970, I think it was.
Pretty neat.
Wow.
Yeah. Look inside of it. It was their brochure.
Tell you all the things that.
And I have kept this thing without it getting one bend. And she said something. "Do you want to put that little tag thing?" I was like, "Heck no! I don't want nothing to happen to it."
Awesome. Thanks, brother.
Yeah, man. So I don't know what. This was not on the bike, but was in the box of all the parts when Alan took it apart and brought it. It was, I guess, just in the box.
Yours?
It must be on one of your other motorcycles.
Probably, yeah. We had a Yamaha that my brother had the same place that this one was kept. So that's probably what it was off of. But we've got a little, and you'll see when you go there, down on the dock, we've got a covered area, kind of like a summer kitchen kind of a place.
Yeah.
And there's all kind of old license plates and some cool fishing stuff, and so there's something similar down there.
Now we promise we're gonna go.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll see. It's only been
because I always worked like.
How many years?
13 since Dad passed away, so that's how many times I've asked Darren to
Listen,
go.
when I loaded up the office, and I was pulling stuff up, we had a thing, with Christmas cards and stuff, and I was reading all this, just the nicest stuff that people would send us, and there was 2 or 3 cards in there that were like, "Hey, take this money, go for a weekend trip or whatever." And I was like, "What?" She goes, "You would never take anything from nobody." So I was like, "What the heck?" There were so many people that offered for us to go to places, go stay up in Tennessee and all this stuff, and we just had to work all the time.
But
You don't have to work all the time.
I don't, yeah.
You choose to work all the time.
And this is.
But now on the other side of the fence, I realize what people were saying. You got to go make time for yourself and stuff. But
do you want to tell them what all you did to this little Honda?
it was completely blown apart.
Can
Like
you
I'll put a picture up on what it looked like. It looked like it was a training bike for an army.
I mean, I just can't believe how good it turned out.
Yeah.
Was it worth the wait? Was it worth
Of
however many years?
course. And you know what?
You know
I
what?
know
So,
Garrett. I
so
knew
it's been painted. It's been in the office for how many years? Painted in like
It was in the
years.
office for a good while.
And then
But
we put
the
it in the
motor-
spare bedroom thing, and then
So it was in the office.
So
then
I
it
got
came
pictures
home and
of-
went to the spare bedroom, and then it moved to the living room, and then it moved to our bedroom. So it has.
but I have
changed
pictures
bits.
of everything together with like not the motor in it, like years ago. I have the date and all that stuff on it. It was like bolted together, what with waiting on stuff. So
Well, it turned out fantastic.
But,
I really appreciate it.
yeah, it's cool.
Pretty neat.
I
pretty neat.
I'd be scared to ride it.
Well,
No,
now you're
just
scared-
because you know what I mean, it gets banged up or whatever.
I'm
but,
not. You
but you
scared-
ride it, do whatever.
I'm
You know
not
how
gonna- No. It looks too nice. I'm just gonna
Oh my
put it in the shrine, I guess. and-
God. Put it in the shrine.
yeah.
Tell Doris it's got to go in your bedroom like it was in our bedroom.
Oh no, she's already made it clear. She was not happy about when I said, "Well, I guess I'll just pull the Porsche out of the garage and put it in there."
You know, I don't know. It's small enough it might be able to share with the Porsche.
Yeah, I think we just might leave the lawnmower outside for a while.
Or you could put it up on top of a.
You could actually hang it up in the garage from the. I mean, it's gonna get dusty, which doesn't
Don't
matter. You
not
can wash it, but
I think
we're into old stuff. Not everybody is, so we're like,
I think it'll go in the cabin and stay inside. I already had the discussion with Doris. We'll just see how the rest of the night goes. It'd be perfect there.
So funny story. The bike that I got her, that I got from John.
I
John's
remember,
like,
yeah.
that's why I'm like this. I had an arm in that thing.
Motorbike.
Yeah,
Honda.
he shows up at my house with it because I was like, I kept blowing it off because it was a lot of money, and he shows up with it. He knows how to work her. So I ended up with it. Well, then I actually got on it and was like riding it one day. Just was in a weird mood, and I was like, I'm saying this on. I was like, what am I doing? I could die on this. JB built it.
Oh my
Was nothing. There was barely any brakes. The little light wire. It was like. It looked just like something he was going to put on the lot for sale, actually. I love you, John.
That's right. He's good as gold.
But anyway, when I got rid of it, I was like, you got to sign a waiver. You won't let anybody ride this, or you can't tell them it came from me in case somebody gets hurt on it. Because if you ride the handlebars, go over. No, I'm kidding. Oh,
Hey,
my
John, not saying anything bad about
Yeah.
you, brother.
Edit.
It's all out of love. All out of love.
Oh, my
Okay,
God.
then, well, I think that's a pretty neat story, and I'm glad you got your bike back, even though I'm sad I already miss it. I got to ride all the way over here on the back and holding it in the back
You shouldn't have
with
do
love and
that.
care.
She did. I was like,
I did. I held it.
man,
in.
those brand new tires are like dirty. When you clean them, they dry like that. Huh? You got to put some armor on or something on
I'll
them.
Oh,
put
my
some-
Lord.
He's already finding stuff wrong with it. Can you believe that?
He is, and listen, I've never heard him say put armor on anything.
So when I took when I redid the neck on it, I don't think I got any pictures. It was like, it looked like it was, where the Barons ride, it was hard as a rock, all the old grease.
Right.
I mean, it just literally was like, almost like scale. I cleaned all that, hand polished it to like, look like a nickel.
'Cause you know he's
And then
got
I
those-
took every single Baron, they're single Barons, they weren't in like a race thing.
Yeah.
Took every single one of them, soaked them all with thinner and cleaned them, hand polished them. Man, the neck would go clunk, just you'd pick it up and that whole neck, man, it turned so easy. You couldn't even feel, you know what I mean?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
smooth as silk.
Even though he's already guilted you and told you basically not to ride it or put gas in it or start
He
it.
can do whatever he wants to do. I just didn't want to fire it up and burn the paint off the header
I'm not
until he got it.
Until he got it. I told him.
It's
She said,
too
"You're not."
nice.
She's like, "You're not gonna let me ride it." I said, "Are you?" Seriously, I wouldn't know.
He was speechless. He was like, I.
Oh, I was constantly moving. When I was working on it, I would do something. I would like put it away where no one could even walk by there.
I was in your bedroom.
I had to be asleep.
It was completely. It was completely on one side of the corner where she doesn't go. Where my thing, where there was a desk thing right there.
Yeah, I kid you not. And if I would go in there to do the thing, he was like, I would come in the mornings when I heard him start, because I get up early and he doesn't. And I would go over and he'd go, the bike, don't get near the bike. I was like, whatever.
Oh man.
So, the love.
Yeah, I didn't even spray any like chain lube on there because I didn't want to get any grease.
No,
I didn't,
it's- It's a museum piece. I mean, truthfully, there's one just like it, and probably not in this good a condition at the Barber Museum in Alabama. Yeah, I sent you a picture of it. It's green. You remember?
Green.
Oh, did you just send it to me on the way
No,
over?
no, no.
Okay,
Years ago.
I don't remember.
I'll
I have
find
to
it.
go back and look.
Resend it to you. You'll never find it.
I'm glad that you got it and I didn't scratch anything. So we're both in the clear now.
Both in the
I'm
clear.
going to wrap it in bubble wrap and hermetically seal it.
Listen, that's what.
So you're taking it to the house. You're taking it to the house up there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if we go up there,
It'll be there. You can take it for a ride.
well, no, I wouldn't do that. You know, if we go up there and you don't have it up there, maybe we could take it. We could build something to hold it or whatever.
You know
Take
what?
it up there.
He wants to wrap me in bubble wrap because everything not to protect me, but to protect to shut this off because my arm's going to sleep. And I'm glad that you love it as much as we do.
Absolutely, it's beautiful.
Doris gonna come out and look at it.
Of course.
So since he made me give the other little Honda up that stayed in my bedroom for, I don't know, a year or two, in the living room before that, I think this is his guilt present to me. My new ride. I haven't named her yet because I think we're going to paint the frame. And that'll change the whole thing. But anyway, what do you think? Yeah, pretty awesome. Peace out.
All right. With that being said,
Yeah. Till next time, don't forget.
like, comment, and subscribe.
And we'll see you next week.
Appreciate y'all.
Data. Oh,
You gotta talk first.
I do? So do I have to redo that now? What am I going to say? That's all I got. That's all I've got. It's all of me. I gave it all to you. Now I got to roll. Yeah. All of me was just given to all of you and everybody else. So now I got to roll. I got to go. I got to burn the pavement. Yeah? Now. Peace out.